Good day, everyone. I hope you are all doing fine right now. Bagong araw, bagong kaalaman na naman ang ating matutunan. I am Jhobit C. Entice, and I am your teacher for today's discussion. Last time, we tackled about 14 psychological principles. And now, let's move to our next topic. Now, at the end of this lesson, you will be able to first, define metacognition and identify its components. Second, appreciate the importance of metacognition and learning and commit to applying it in your study habits. Lastly, demonstrate understanding through creating and presenting a simple diagram of metacognition on short paper. But before we proceed to our proper discussion, I have here three pictures. What comes in your mind when you see these three images? Maybe uban sa inyo mga makikita. Ay sir, pamilya ko na kay Meta man na. Uban sa inyo, sir, pamilya ko na second picture. Kung man na sir. Ang uban sa inyo, ano niya. Sir, country, maybe nation na siya sir. At indeed, it is metacognition. But it is not just about metacognition. It is about metacognition, which is our topic for today's discussion. So, what is metacognition? But before you answer that question, let me ask you something. Nakasuway na ba mga nang mag-study mo? Or naamoy basahon nga something? And sa basahon ninyo balik-balik ipasa, kaya ganun dili ganun sa sabtal. And do you know nga, in that process, kaya nagamit na nato ato topic which is metacognition. Metacognition is about knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. Knowing what you do when you don't know. It means, ikaw mismo sa imong kaugalingon, kabaw ka sa imong weaknesses and strength. You know how to handle your weaknesses and improve it yourself. It means self-monitoring, correcting your learning process. In short, to summarize it all, it is thinking about your thinking. Metacognition has two components. These are metacognitive knowledge and metacognitive regulation. And now, let's proceed to metacognitive knowledge. Metacognitive knowledge has three parts. These are declarative knowledge, procedural knowledge, and conditional knowledge. First, let's go to declarative knowledge. This knowledge is like having a bunch of knowledge stuck on your mind like a bookshelf. For example, all of us here know what is 4 plus 4. All of us here know what is noun and what is verb. And that is your prior knowledge. And that is what is declarative. This knowledge is like having a steps or instruction following like a recipe. For example, I know how to cook. I know how to ride bike. I know how to solve a multiplication problem. It's like knowing your house. This is what procedural is. And lastly, conditional knowledge. Conditional knowledge is when or why you use what you learn. For example, you want to listen to a music when remembering something. That is what conditional knowledge is, and those are metacognitive knowledge. Now let's proceed to metacognitive regulation and control. These also have three parts. These are planning, monitoring, and evaluating. Planning is deciding how to approach a task. For example, naamoy incoming preliminary examination, and then nagplano ka nga na mag-study ka 1 hour every night. And that is what planning is. The second one is monitoring. Checking your understanding as you learn. For example, di ba nagplano ka nga mag-study ka for your preliminary examination. Study ka 1 hour every night. And then, you will monitor what you learn on that 1 hour. For example, effective ba yung mga ibasa? Na ba kayo nasabtan sa mga ibasa? That is what monitoring is. It's just like checking. Lastly, evaluating, reviewing how well you did after learning. For example, nahuman na ka ang plano, nahuman na ka pag-check, and then naabot na ang result sa inyong exam. And then, imong gitanaw if sakto ba imong study, na ba kayo learn, and kung saan ang outcome sa inyong pag-study, kung saan imong improve next time. And those are the parts of metacognitive regulation and control. And now, let's proceed to our last topic, which is the metacognitive teaching strategies. This consists of think aloud, journalizing, error analysis, wrapper, and peer mentoring. First, think aloud. In this process, learner report their thoughts while they do it. For example, ang best example for this is impromptu reporting or impromptu talumpati, and that is what think aloud. Second, journalizing. In this process, learners write what's in their mind. The best example for this is essay, writing an essay. Nang gahuna-huna pa lang gani ka, di mo nang gisuwan, and that is what journalizing is. Third, error analysis. The process of this one is by asking learners where they are correct or wrong. For example, nag-exam mo, and then nakuha na nimo imong test paper na kay wrong usa. And then imong i-analyze kung anong na-wrong ka. Na-wrong ka kay wala day nakalimot day kag butang og negative sa imong answer, nakalimot day ka og carry sa one sa imong math problems. And that is what error analysis is. Fourth, wrapper. This includes activity that fosters metacognition before, during, and after the class. Mao ni ang mga gamiton sa mga teachers before, during, and after sa ilang klase. For example, like ang mga oral recitation. Mao na siya ang mga gamiton sa mga teacher. Kanang after kay mga like for example ang mga quizzes. Mao na siya. And then ginagamit po na siya sa mga teacher para mahimong interactive ang klase. And that is what wrapper is. And lastly, peer mentoring. In this process, learners learn best when studying with peer who are more informed and skilled than them. For example, nag-group study mo, and then ikaw nga na-question sa imong mind, mangutana ka sa imong peer nga mas knowledgeable pa nimo. Which is kanang matubag niya ang imong questions, and daghan kag ma-learn about ana. And then ma-adapt po nimo ang iyang learning strategies, and that is peer mentoring. And finally, we are done with our discussion, and I will leave you with this quote. Remember, metacognition is essential in learning because it helps us become aware of how we think, allowing us to learn smarter, not just harder. Again, this is Jhobit C and TC, your teacher for today's discussion. Thank you and goodbye.